I think Ryan Garcia still beats Devin Haney in a rematch, and at the end of the day, that's not trying to hate on Devin Haney. That's not me being a Ryan Garcia fanboy, but like at the end of the day, Rolly Romero did something that Devin Haney can't. In my opinion, I think Devin, he's a great boxer, but he's not a great fighter, in my opinion. He knows how to win a boxing match, but he doesn't know how to fight fire with fire, and that's the intricacy of having that style of hit and not get hit. What happens when you do get hit? Can you answer? Can you respond, or do you start like backing down? I think of it like as a how puppies fight, and one small puppy tries to challenge a big puppy, but the big puppy like hits him a little bit, and the small puppy like backs away. That's what Devin Haney looks like to me. That's what he looked like in the Ryan Garcia rematch, in the first Ryan Garcia fight, and then in the fight with Jose Ramirez. So it's just like in the rematch, how am I supposed to think of it any differently when Devin still doesn't look right? Devin still looks shaky. So even though Devin Haney won his last fight, I don't think he beats Ryan Garcia in a rematch because he looks afraid. Like in that fight with Jose Ramirez, I was expecting Devin to win and not look the best, not have a solid performance. I thought he was going to look shaky, but he looks even more scared than I thought he would against Jose Ramirez, who isn't that dangerous. Like, he has a very offensive and overwhelming style, but it wasn't like he's a prime Jose Ramirez, and Devin was treating him like he was a prime Jose, and like really evading and running around, when it came to Jose, trying to press the action. And I understand, that's also part of the sport, but it just makes me think, like, in a rematch, does Devin Haney beat Ryan Garcia? Because, like, even though Ryan lost his fight to Rolly, like, Devin doesn't have the style or the power to make it difficult for Ryan still. It's styles make fights at the end of the day. Rolly versus Ryan is a completely different fight than Ryan versus Devin Haney. Devin's a defensive fighter for the most part. He chose to step to Ryan Garcia in their first fight and learn the hard way that wasn't the thing to do. In this next fight, will he be able to make the same adjustments against a guy who's younger than Jose Ramirez? Doesn't really, he has a lot to prove now. Like, his back's against the wall. If Ryan loses to Devin, like, the weight of that loss could send him into like no man's land, so where no one really cares about him. He could turn from the most popular sport, fighter in the sport, the biggest name, the biggest draw, one of the biggest draws Ryan Garcia is, but like if he loses to Devin in a rematch, like that would probably be the nail in the coffin for his career, because people already think that Devin's not that good, that he's afraid to fight. So like if Ryan loses to Devin, I'm not sure he'll be able to come back from that. Like, where do you go from there? Do you have a trilogy fight? And at the end of the day, like, are people even going to be interested depending on how this rematch goes? Like, there's a lot that goes into it, but I think Ryan is, he's a fighter at the end of the day. He wants to fight. He's going to try to make it a fight. Devin's going to try not to. He's going to try to do the same thing he did to Jose Ramirez, and that was basically his preparation. Like, I don't blame Devin for not taking the Ryan Garcia rematch immediately. I honestly think it would have been stupid for them to do that. I think they did the smart thing by not fighting Ryan immediately. I'm actually shocked they want to fight Ryan even after that Jose Ramirez fight, because Devin still does look shaky. And like what I said before, styles make fights. Rolly Romero has power. Devin Haney has power, but it's not nearly what Rolly has. So is he going to be able to get that same respect from Ryan Garcia that Rolly got? Like, we'll have to wait and see. I think Devin's going to depend on his mobility the same way he moved around a lot against Jose Ramirez. I expect him to do the same thing. He's going to circle away from that Ryan Garcia left hook, avoid it like the plague, and try to land a jab at some point and say that he won the fight. But at the end of the day, like, if Ryan does catch him, it's still a huge possibility, because Ryan's not going to be afraid to close the distance the way he was against Rolly, because Devin doesn't have that pop that's going to get the respect of Ryan Garcia, or at least he hasn't shown it yet. So I expect Ryan to step to Devin Haney. Devin's going to have to get the respect of Ryan, or else he might get cracked by that left hook again. Even with Ryan Garcia being gun-shy against Rolly, you're not Rolly Romero. Devin has to be different. He has to fight that fight where he's circling around that left hook, using that jab, being active, but not letting Ryan touch him. And, he's going to run. I promise you, Devin's going to run and make it a boring fight to the best of his ability, but that's the only way he wins. If he turns it into a firefight, he's going to lose a rematch to Ryan Garcia, and then he's really going to get memed, and his confidence is going to plummet, and that could be the end of Devin Haney's career, honestly. You know, if he gets embarrassed like that against Ryan Garcia in a rematch, you know, which I think is very possible because, like I said, Devin's not Rolly. He doesn't have the power that Rolly has. In a lot of ways, Devin's more predictable than Rolly Romero, and we already know he's going to try to run away from Ryan Garcia and negate any kind of exchange, which he should do. But I'm not saying, you know, that he's definitely going to be able to execute that, because at the end of the day, Ryan's still dangerous. He still has a mean left hook, and I think for Devin, he's going to have to really, like, run away from it, and still land shots to win a decision, because otherwise, like, people are really not going to want to watch Devin Haney, because, like, he could very well win the rematch, but I just have questions because of the power. Like, I just don't think he has the power that's going to get the respect from Ryan Garcia the same way Rolly got the respect from Ryan Garcia. You know, Rolly, you could clearly see when Rolly cracked Ryan Garcia with the first left hook and then knocked him down with another left hook that didn't even land clean, you could see on Ryan Garcia's face, he was like, I've never been really, like, hit like that. Even with Luke Campbell and Tank, like, those are both flash knockdowns. I think Ryan was, like, actually hurt by that first left hook that landed. So we'll see what happens. Rolly obviously upset Ryan Garcia, but I still think Ryan has a pretty solid chance of beating Devin. I still favor Ryan in the rematch, honestly. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys on the next Nabs Boxing video. Peace.